Hello, my name's Silvia, and I'd like you to take a moment to think of a medical device that you or a loved one has used to improve the quality of your life. If you can't think of a device, think of a vaccine you've had to take in the past. If you thought of a medical device, you might have thought of a glucose meter, which diabetic patients use to monitor their blood sugar levels, and without this device, their lives would be much more difficult to manage. If you thought of a vaccine, you might have thought of a polio or smallpox vaccine. These diseases were life-threatening and debilitating back when these vaccines weren't available to people, and now they have gotten under control because of vaccinations. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because I want to be a person who's behind these types of medical breakthroughs, and I want to do that by becoming a molecular biology technician. And this technician career path I'd like to do in the biotechnological field. So, why should I be the one telling you about this? Well, I've been passionate about the healthcare sciences since forever, and I am currently pursuing a biology degree, and I will be going towards a biotechnological certification afterwards. So I want to give you an overview of this job path of becoming a molecular biology technician, and I want to do that by telling you what it's about, how to get there, some of the incentives, as well as who's most suited and some downsides to consider. So to start off with, what is a molecular biology technician? What do they do? So a technician is somebody who works in a lab analyzing samples such as DNA or other organic samples and observing these samples and conducting research and trying to find solutions to healthcare problems through the research that they do. And they do this by collaborating with other molecular biologists and using techniques such as DNA extraction or polymerized chain reactions. In order to do this work, you have to have a foundation, and that foundation starts with education. So a technician has to have a degree up to a bachelor level in a biological science, as well as in order to work in some of these labs, you need to be licensed. And the more experience you have, the more education you have, if you want to go up to a master's level, the better it is for you. So now that you know a little bit about this career path and how to get there, I'm going to talk to you about why it's worth it to go into this career path. And the two things that I consider when I'm going into a career or thinking about going into a career is if there's a need for the job or if the salary is good for the job. And this infographic helps really well with trying to tell you about how biotechnological careers have an increased need and increased salary as compared to other job paths. As you can see, in comparison to minimum wage versus a biotechnological career such as being a lab technician, you make more than twice the amount of a minimum wage worker. So that's your salary, and according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary for a lab technician is about $42,000. So that can also be increased. That can also be increased by advancing your education or your experience, as I've discussed before. And then need. So this is showing us on a local level. Companies such as Advanced Cell Diagnostics as well as Thermo Fisher Scientific, all right here in the Bay Area, are hiring in biotechnological careers. And you can see by 2020, 15,000 jobs just in the Bay Area will be open for biotechnological careers. And this need is going to be there. People are starting to realize that biotechnology is the way of the future, and there is ways that you can help solve problems in agriculture, healthcare, and other fields. So now that I've told you a little bit about the need and the salary expectations, you might be wondering who's most suited for this kind of job and what's the catch, what are the downsides. So the kind of people who are most suited for this job are people who are able to collaborate well with others, as I said before with molecular biologists, people who are able to be hardworking and not give up, because it can be something that you need a lot of persistence in doing lab work, and people who are able to communicate their thoughts and ideas. And also, you might want to be skilled at using software and other lab equipment, such as DNA sequencers, that help you get your job done. And so some of the downsides that people kind of think about when they're thinking about this type of job is that lab work can be somewhat boring, or the fact that you need education and experience and licensing and all these different things in order to go into this job, which may not be feasible for everybody. But I believe that this job can be challenging, and it also makes a difference in people's lives. The work that I will do as a molecular biology technician will affect people in a very personal way in helping to improve their lives. And I think that that is something that I would not be able to do without. I need to be in a career where I feel like I'm helping people in a very personal way. So now I hope you have a better understanding of what a molecular biology technician does, what it's about, how to get there, some benefits of choosing this career path, as well as some traits that you might need in order to be successful at this kind of job, as well as some things to consider such as negative aspects of it. And I want you to think back to the beginning of my talk where I asked you about a device or a vaccine, and think of life without these devices or vaccines. And once you think about that a little bit more, you'll start to realize that this job and this career path is a noble one to pursue. And without it, we'd be missing something in our lives. Thank you.